Here we are.
Okay. So, I have already done a reading, Asked for a Vision on Ukraine, and I believe that is the thumbnail here. This is sort of a follow through as far as what's next for Ukraine. I'd asked for a vision, and the vision I got just wasn't too nice at all. It showed Ukraine reversed and the whole east side of Ukraine dark, and I just felt like it was really a pit. And I think that's what's unfolding right now. I really worry about how Putin is going to sort of scorch earth on Ukraine. And one thing I'm thinking a lot about, back in the 70s, I watched The Holocaust, which was a miniseries with my parents, and we watched in silence. But after the last show of the last night, I looked at them, and they were part of the greater generation. And I said, well, when this was going on, didn't anybody know? I mean, what would the world do? And they just seemed so uncomfortable. And finally they answered, "Well, we heard things." And I realized that here it was almost 30 years after the fact, and there was still like this for not doing, knowing that what was happening in Europe and not doing anything about it. And the reason I bring the story up is I worry that we see what's happening in Ukraine, but we're just not doing enough. And I understand that whole World War III thing, but I think that Putin is not going to stop until he does get the NATO pulled in. But we're going to see what the cards have to say. I'm a little concerned about the escalation because he pulled back. They say he's regrouping, and he put a new general, and I can't remember the guy's name, but they called him the Butcher of Serbia. So this is a general who's known to be ruthless. So Putin. What's coming up for Putin in the next little while? What's coming up for Ukraine? Let's ask for Ukraine.
And especially since that's what the thumbnail said.
Yes. So let's see what's going on with Ukraine. What's going on with Ukraine? What's next for Ukraine? Okay. So keep in mind this is for entertainment purpose only. So, and this is for the today is April the 10th, and so we're looking at a little bit ahead. So when we look at the significator, it shows that people look at Vladimir Zelensky and they see him as a very powerful leader. He's seen as being strong, as being virtuous, as being fiery. Okay, so this is how the world sees him. And you've got the lovers. So it's not like we don't want help. It's that the whole world is on, well, the Western world is on Ukraine's side. I think that if you look at China and India, their silence is deafening. So let's see. Okay, so when I look at, like, right now, the world's looking at Ukraine. Right now, Ukraine is in a victory cycle, because right now they're looking at like we're winning because you've got that ace of swords. So the first round of battles they have won. But when you look at what's in the back of their mind, they're saying, yeah, we know that we did a lot of damage, but we also know that there's going to be a price to pay. Because they may have, when Russia comes back, they know that they're going to come even fiercer and even more ruthless and even more cruel and even more inhuman. Keep in mind, this is for entertainment purposes only. When I look at the near past, you've got the Nine of Cups. And this idea, when I look at the lovers, with the lovers, there's this like this archangel, so you have this winged creature here. So it is a little bit about the no fly zone, which they need that air protection, and they're not getting it. They're getting the world's admiration. They're getting everybody's cheering them on and telling them how great they are, and everybody's cheering for their victory, but they're not getting what they need. They haven't yet. But then when I look at the Two of Swords, there's an agreement here. There's a truce of some sort. And I want to see what the other cards have to say, because at first I thought it was an agreement with NATO, but I'm wondering if maybe it's an agreement with Russia, because there's this kind of icky feeling to it. I don't know how else to put it. Okay, so we look here and we have the 6 of coins, but 6 of coins reversed. So there is the world is putting too much weight on the fact that it appears that Ukraine has been able to beat Russia back. So then they're saying, "Oh, well, look, you can take care of it yourself." And so it's kind of a double-edged sword that they, in their fight for survival, they've pushed Russia back, but ironically enough, it's made the world think, "Oh yeah, well, you can stand up to Russia just fine," and that's just nothing could be further from the truth. Um, yeah, when you look at these two right here, like this is where this is where they are right now, and how the world is treating them. But when you look at what's going on behind the scenes, going on in their minds, they know, they've seen before. They've seen this movie before. They're well aware of how cruel Russia can be, and they're well aware of something really, really bad is coming their way. They know this.
Your face is covering that card.
My face, this one?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to move things over a little bit. So when I look at the near future, and I did say that they weren't getting the support they needed. And it's almost like this entrapment kind of thing. I feel like there is a part of Ukraine this week in the not too distant future that's going to end up surrounded. And the world can't support Ukraine fast enough. Okay, so see, there's this 9 here. It looks like they have a lot to go through before they reach, the end of this road. It's going to be a long summer for Ukraine. But it looks like when we get to September, the news is better. Yeah, the Ukraine is going
Your
to have.
face is covering all those cards.
These are my confirmation cards as far as the path goes, and the 9 of coins is actually a pretty optimistic card. I think that it goes from being the worst in August to resolved, the end of it, over in September. So keep in mind for entertainment purposes only. But as far as timing, I think we might be looking September to August for a resolution of this. But they're right; they have not seen the worst of it. It does get worse, and I am so sorry to say that. This is for entertainment purposes only, but the world needs to help Ukraine. Ultimately, they will win, but they will pay a horrible price. So I'm going to take a sip and I'm going to shake this off. Um, I just feel so bad for Ukraine. I really do feel like it's sort of history repeating itself again and again and again. And the more I learn about the Ukrainian people, it's I just feel like they've worked so hard for what they've had. They're so clear on who they are, and it just I have no words. I'm just at the end of it, there will be a Ukraine left, but it won't be the same as. So.